All right, West Virginia fans, another game, another dub for the West Virginia Mountaineers. 5-0. Great start for Ross Hodge. Great start for the West Virginia Mountaineers. On tonight's show, we'll talk about the win over the Lafayette Leopards of Easton, Pennsylvania, right across the river from me. We'll talk about Miles Sadler, his commitment to West Virginia. We'll talk about the Kevin Brown sweepstakes that's heating up, and we'll talk about much more. To do that with me, I have my good friend, Amit Batra. Amit, how are we doing tonight?
Doing well, man. How's it going?
It's good. You kind of have that Lafayette maroon on there over
Yeah, I
there.
know. I had this on earlier, but didn't feel
I,
like
g-
changing.
I got you on a late notice
Yeah.
to come join on. You know what's funny about Lafayette is I actually plan on going to the Lafayette Lehigh game this weekend.
Oh yeah.
So Lafayette Lehigh is one of the biggest college rivalries. It's a lot of people don't know about it because it's an FCS school, but Bethlehem and Easton, Pennsylvania are only about 15 minutes away, and the game is literally 5 minutes from my house. So I'll probably check that out up there on College Hill on Saturday. But West Virginia now, they've passed the test. They've beaten Lafayette. They've beaten Lehigh. They beat the Patriot League teams, and the competition's going to get much tougher. Before we start, Amit, just overall thoughts on the game before we start.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think they got past a little bit of a slow start. I mean, I was super impressed with Honor Huff again. Once again, I mean, that guy can light it up. And then DJ Thomas, he's a very exciting freshman who I think is just going to get better and better. But he was great today too. So yeah, got past a little bit of a slow start. I think they were on a high from the Pitt game, and maybe looking forward to Clemson coming on Friday. But once they found their offensive rhythm, I think they look pretty good.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all those things tonight. I agree with a lot of things you said. A lot of the notes I have, you'll find out, are pretty much the same thing that you had. These games sometimes are hard to break down because West Virginia is ultimately going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
If they don't do what they're going to do, then it's definitely a different type of show that we do. But we'll get into that all of that tonight. Before we do, if you're a West Virginia fan, please remember to like and subscribe to JerseyEER. We're 4 people away from 500. So each day we're slowly gaining traction. So definitely want to get to that 500 number. I feel like the other hundreds were easier to get to, and then 4 to 500 has definitely been a grind, not as easy to get to than the other ones. So we're almost there. We want to keep the momentum going. So if you like West Virginia content, you're a diehard, you're from the New Jersey area, from the West Virginia area, give us a follow. We really appreciate it. All right, Amit, let's get into this one. So let's look at the game notes that I took from this one. Like you said, sluggish start, but is that to be expected in this one based on playing Pitt last week and a Monday night versus a Patriot League team?
Yeah, I think so. It's sometimes, it's a little hard to get up for these type of games. I mean, you're expected to win. You're I think a 23.5 point favorite to win this game. And yeah, you're coming off a very emotional game against Pitt, which obviously, they destroyed Pitt. So I think, yeah, it's a little bit hard to get up for some of these type of games, but hey, look, they figured it out. They're 5-0, and that's ultimately what matters.
Yeah, I expected that tonight. I was actually
Yeah.
on a space tonight. I actually saw you log on there, and we were previewing the game, and I actually talked about that. I said, I expect a slow start from West Virginia, based on what we've seen. It's a tough spot. It's a Monday. Thanksgiving weekend is rolling in for the students, so I'm sure students have Thanksgiving on their mind. Maybe not the basketball team, but the student body does. And you're playing a Patriot League school that you're a 25-point favorite. So that was expected. By the way, Coop, I see your comments. I definitely going to get to your comments later in the show. I just want to get through this, but I appreciate all the support, man. You were commenting before we even started, so I really appreciate that support. Amit, early in the game, missed some layups. I know Ross Hodge talked about that at halftime. What were your thoughts on just the performance near the rim tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been a little bit of a theme where they're missing some of the bunnies, in the paint, and hopefully they get that corrected pretty quickly. But I mean, yeah, it's just kind of one of those starts where they had the opportunities, they were getting the looks, they just weren't making it.
So another struggling game for Trey Eaglestaff. Is that fair to say, Amit?
Yeah, I think so. I remember him missing that dunk. I know he wants that one back, but
He needed
yeah,
that one.
I think we're just waiting for that game where he breaks out offensively. But like, I mean, I think we mentioned it. That I mean, this team has depth, and like, a lot of guys are able to contribute. So maybe if he's not, going offensively, I mean, other guys can contribute, which is great.
Yeah, like that dunk, that dunk. If he gets that dunk, that place probably is rocking.
Yeah,
There's a few threes there that it looked like if he could just make them, he's gonna explode. He could be pressing a little bit right
yeah.
now, right? I mean, do you think he feels the pressure?
Yeah, I think it kind of becomes a mental thing, and you get in your own head. When you just aren't making shots, and I think it happens. I mean, it's natural, right, in basketball. But I think a little bit of that for sure, and I think a little bit, some of it is mental for sure.
So Coop actually commented he said he has some alternate accounts. He has multiple accounts, so he said he got us to 500. So
Hey,
congratulations to us. That's awesome. Thank you, Coop. We really appreciate that. Want to get that milestone off of my back for sure. So I really appreciate that, brother. You're an awesome fan, and we really appreciate all the comments. We really do. Yeah, I think he's pressing a little bit though. I really do think he is. I think I think when you go to a new school, you try to overcompensate sometimes, right? It's like trying to impress a new girl, right? Sometimes you might try to do more than you just hanging out and doing what you're supposed to do and just chill. And it's a jump in competition too. He's shown it versus the Alabama game last year, but now he's on a Power Four school, so he probably feels the pressure. He's probably has a nice paycheck coming in from West Virginia. So again, I'm not giving up on him yet, but I think it's fair to say that he's been struggling in these games. All right, let's talk about Honor Huff, man. 8 from 9 from 3-point range. You could tell he was feeling it early tonight.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was probably the one guy that was, filling it all game. And then, once he gets going, obviously you were able to see, I think he had 8 threes in total, which is incredible. He obviously led the nation in threes last year. So guy's very capable of, finding, getting the ball in the basket and, getting going very quickly. So it's nice to have nice to have him on our side for sure. And then, yeah, he was a big piece of the game tonight.
Yeah, tonight he exploded, but low key he's been having some great outputs. 15 points, 12 points. So he's been getting his double digits, and that's probably because he takes so many threes. But he's definitely one of my favorite 3-pointers to watch. Probably the most exciting 3-point guy we've had since like Stevenson or like McNeil.
Yeah.
And Deuce. He's definitely in that category, and he's made more than them based on statistics. So shout out to Honor Huff, man. I think I'm excited to watch what he does this season. He's a guy from our area, which is exciting too. So, I thought Amir Jenkins looks like he's getting comfortable out there as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, he's in one of those other freshmen who's is capable of actually of making plays, and I'm excited to see what these guys are able to do in the future. I mean, DJ Thomas obviously had a terrific night tonight as well, but yeah, it's nice to see some of these younger guys contributing.
Eric Flower said I took WVU minus the points. I was 1 3-pointer away from being excited. I know because the last time, Eric, you hit the trifecta, right? We talked about that the last show when we had basketball. You hit the trifecta, so keep showing up, man. keep showing up out there, Eric. Good to hear from you as well. All right, let's talk about DJ Thomas, like you mentioned, man. He was actually the team's leading scorer tonight, even though Honor Huff had 8 3-pointers. He's playing like a veteran, and they
Yeah.
said after the game, I think it was Huff who said each game DJ Thomas is becoming better and better. Amit, what a pleasant surprise he's been this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you saw it against Pitt. He was, starting to get going the first half when we really needed some buckets. He was that spark, and tonight he was incredible. And yeah, he doesn't look like a freshman out there. And I mean, he finished with 25 points, and yeah, it's exciting that he's only going to get better and better.
Yeah, and then just going over to Lafayette, like I said, they're a local team from me. They play over in Easton, Pennsylvania, right across the river. My high school team, Phillipsburg, actually has a massive rivalry versus Easton
Easton,
on
yeah.
Thanksgiving morning. That's actually on Lafayette's campus. We sell that out every year, but very familiar with Lafayette. Picked 7th in the Patriot League, but I think based on what they've done tonight, there's a chance they could finish higher than that. They battled in this one. They have a few good players. Caleb Williams was one of those guys. He was in double digits and looked like a pretty good player. And I thought they looked pretty good shooting 3 ball.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They were doing enough to hang around. Obviously, West Virginia was struggling a little bit offensively to start the game, but even the second half, I mean, it felt like West Virginia couldn't like actually blow them out, and they were kind of staying within that 15-point range based on the threes, right? So, yeah, they did enough to hang around. I just think ultimately West Virginia had more talent. It was just a better team.
Yeah, West Virginia had a hot start in the second half, there, which really helped them. They went on a nice run there and kind of put that game away and got to a comfortable lead. Honor Huff's three-pointer at the end of the half definitely helped, too, to get it to double digits. So I was never overly concerned about this game. It was a tight game for the first 10 minutes or the first quarter of the game, but ultimately West Virginia was the more talented team, and it looked like it tonight. And then Amit in the green at the bottom, best start under a head coach in 71 years. The last time we've had a 5-0 start with a first-year head coach was 1954. That was the year my father was born. Amit, thoughts on Honor Huff in his first 5 games as his tenure as head coach?
No, I think Ross is doing a fantastic job, and it's great to be 5-0. Obviously the competition is going to get a little bit tougher very soon here, but I mean, hey, you're taking care of business. You're doing what you need to do. He beat Pitt, which is obviously going to get some fans over, right? So, hey, you're 5-0. You're looking great, and I'm excited to see what this team can do against Clemson on Friday.
Eric Flower said Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton. Yeah, so that's the exact area I live in, Eric. I am from Phillipsburg, New Jersey. So the show's called JerseyEER, but I live right on the border of Pennsylvania. The high school I went to is called Phillipsburg, and our nickname is the State Liners because we're on the state line of New Jersey. So Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton is exactly where Lafayette Lehigh is from. That's basically where I'm from. It's called the Lehigh Valley. I almost played the song on my Instagram page with the thumbnail today, living in Allentown, but I know I would have gotten so much stuff from Easton people because Lafayette's from Easton. Also, the home of Larry Holmes, the Easton assassin, Easton, Pennsylvania. Nice growing city, admit. Have you ever been to Easton?
I have been to Easton. It's a nice time. Yeah,
Gotta
I've been
check
to
out
Bethlehem. Yeah, it's fun out there.
Yeah, if anyone is on here, check out the Lehigh Valley. If you're ever up this way, the Lehigh Valley, Bethlehem, Easton, Allentown, growing areas, one of the fastest growing areas in the country. Anyway, let's put this game to bed. Let's look at some stats real quick. Brendan Lorient, 9 points, 3 from 7 from the field, came down with 5 rebounds. Jasper Floyd, quiet night for Jasper. It seems like he's very hot and cold. Only 2 points tonight, 1 from 5 from the field goal. Any concerns about Jasper Floyd, Amit?
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, obviously, we saw what he was able to do in the season opener. I think he's doing his role for the most part. But we mentioned that one guy's capable of kind of taking over a game. It feels like every game, right? So his turn was a season opener, but I mean, I think he's capable of having a double-digit game here and there.
Yeah, his last game defensively was amazing. All the steals he was racking up. He had 6 assists tonight, so that's good for him. We mentioned Honor Huff, 8 from 9 from 3-point range. Some of the, you can see the confidence when he's feeling it, man. He has a quick trigger and just lets it fly. Trace and Eaglestaff had 4 points, but 2 of them came from the free throw line, so it only had 1 field goal. Quiet night for Harlan Obioa, Amit. Only 3 points, 1 from 5 from the field. Not quite the night he had the other night. That's pretty much safe to say.
Yeah.
Amir Jenkins, we talked about him. He's getting more comfortable. He looks better each and every game. DJ Thomas, 25 points. And then Morris Ugastek, another guy that has had a quietly good first 5 games. And they mentioned at the end of the broadcast, Amit, Chance Moore coming back for the games on Friday. I'm sure he's excited to play with these guys.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see what he's able to do after these first 5 games here, and not being able to play. So, as another element to the team, obviously, I think he can help with also the rebounding that we talked about as well. So yeah, I mean, we're going to need him for Clemson. It's a tougher team than what we saw tonight. So, definitely excited to see what he's able to do.
Eric Flower said, I dated a girl in my college years from Bethlehem. She went to school with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Yeah, that's true. So Dwayne The Rock Johnson is from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. He went to Freedom High School. So Freedom and Liberty have a big rivalry up here. And we all know about Dwayne Johnson did really well for Freedom High School football and then ended up getting a full ride to Miami to play football. So yeah, Dwayne is a local guy, believe it or not. I always love dropping that bomb to my students that Dwayne Johnson is from like 15 minutes away. So we have like up in this area, we have Kevin White. Kevin White
Yep.
is from Emmaus, Pennsylvania, really close to here. Saquon Barkley is right down the road in Whitehall. The Rock, Larry Holmes. The Andretti brothers are from Nazareth. So we have a lot of talented people around here, including me, JerseyEER. I'm just
Are
kidding.
you
I'm not.
doing Peaburg Easton this year? Are you making your way there?
Yeah, I got my tickets. I think I'm going to bring the boys up for that one. Go State Liners.
Yeah.
It was funny. I actually had someone comment on one of the shows. Like, wait, you're from Peaburg? I'm from Peaburg. So anytime I see someone with a West Virginia hat, I always tell them about JerseyEER and try to get them committed to the show. Let's talk about the team stats, and then we'll really put this one to bed. We shot 50% from the field. So one of our better shooting nights, admit, that we've had this season.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's telling because I mean, offensively at first it wasn't looking too great. So I think once they found their footing offensively, they were able to get going, and obviously Honor and DJ had a big part in that.
Yeah, we turned them over 19 times, which is something that is just an identity of our team at this point. Lafayette could never take the lead. There was a few times they had a chance with free throws and to get ahead. The game was tied a few times, but ultimately we never gave that lead up. And it was just a solid night overall for the West Virginia Mountaineers. Let's get to some other comments before we go to football and some other things. Coop said, let's go. He said, start DJ over Trayson. I think, be careful there because sometimes it's nice to have people off the bench. You don't want to stack your starting lineup and have nothing off the bench. So I think what they're doing, don't change it right now. And then he's going to talk about Kevin Brown, and we're actually going to talk about that coming up next after we talk about basketball, a little bit more basketball. So, Mick, coming up next, we have the Charleston Classic. I believe that's Charleston, South Carolina.
Correct. Yeah.
You can see the bracket here on our side: Clemson, Georgia, West Virginia, and Xavier. We're going to face Clemson first. You can see their schedule this year. They beat New Hampshire. They beat Gardner-Webb, beat Morehead State, and then took the L to Georgetown. Their KenPom ranking is 27th. Amit, just early thoughts about this Clemson game and the opportunity that lies ahead for West Virginia.
No, absolutely. I think obviously the competition is going to be stiffer, and we're going to learn a lot more about West Virginia and how good we are. Obviously, we don't know how good Pitt's going to be ultimately this year. Obviously, big win, but I think this tournament is going to tell you a lot more about who West Virginia is, and also I'm kind of excited to see how they play away from home. Right, we haven't been away from home thus far, and Charleston, South Carolina, that's going to be a lot of Clemson fans there, right? So let's see how they can handle that type of environment. So I think these games are going to be a nice test for us.
One of my favorite times of the year is the Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday tournaments, man. I absolutely love them. And remember last year's team, that's when they made the noise. That's when they showed,
Yep.
They had some big wins. They had 3 overtime games in that weekend, back to back to back. Took down Gonzaga,
Yeah.
took down Arizona, and then lost to Louisville in overtime. So I think there's a lot to be said about these games. You can see the KenPom ratings. Clemson comes in at 27th, Georgia 34th, West Virginia 62nd, and then Xavier 110. So this is an opportunity for West Virginia to climb some of the rankings and open up some eyes around the country. I mean, who knows? You finish this trip 2-0.
Yeah.
Are we talking about being ranked at that point? Are we starting to receive some votes? Like, what do you think about that?
I think you're absolutely talking about getting ranked. If you're 7-0 leaving that tournament, you're absolutely in the discussion. I think you should be ranked because now you're looking at a couple signature wins here, right? These are resume boosters, right? These tournaments. So I think you're absolutely in the discussion of getting ranked. At the very least getting votes, but I think you should be ranked at 7-0.
Yeah, and Eric Flower said, I agree with you. Want someone coming off the bench with a new element of spice, a different angle to throw in, an element at their defense. Yeah, I said, it's one thing to stack the starting lineup, and some teams do that, but I like personally what we have going on right now. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's nice to have some different dudes off the bench, and like I said, our bench is just going to get deeper moving forward, starting Friday with Chance Moore, and then Jackson Fields was warming up today. It seems like he's ready to get back in the action too pretty soon. All good things. I'm looking forward to Friday's game, and then the second game will be on Sunday. Looking forward to that. Here we go. Take me home, country road. So this made big news last night. So man, I had a celebration for my father-in-law. Unfortunately, he passed away of brain cancer years ago. So we have a every year for his birthday, we celebrate his birthday, right? And we had it at Carrabba's. So it's, it's nice little Italian chain restaurant there. But I had the phone out and I was watching some West Virginia wrestling, and then at was it like 5 o'clock? I said I need to turn this on. So I didn't want to be rude to anybody, but had to watch this for myself. West Virginia gets it done. They get it. They get a 4-star, 5-star according to composite. Miles Sadler, 5'10". Sometimes I see 5'11", around 165. Going to play the point guard position. Looked at Maryland, Oklahoma, Tennessee, UCLA, USC, and us. Admit Ross Hodge got it done. What are your thoughts?
This is a huge get for him this early, right? I think it's telling about Ross and what he's able to do thus far. And I mean, it's great to see. It's super exciting, and he's going to be, the future of this program, right? Depending how long he stays at West Virginia. Obviously, you never know these days. But I mean, I think it's a super big get for him this early, and I think there's certain players that just make an impact on your program, right? Oscar was one of those guys. All the hype around him when we landed him, right? So I think this is another one of those guys, and I'm super excited to see what he's able to do in the blue and gold.
Yeah, I think he's a game changer, right? I mean, highest recruit we've had since Oscar Sheveway and Devin Ebanks, and both those guys ended up being pretty good. It's a shame that we didn't get to keep Oscar. We'll look back on that team, and there was a chance that year we could have had like Oscar, Deuce McBride, Culver,
yeah.
McNeil, like all in the same team. It stinks that he left, but he was an outstanding player. It seems like he just, didn't fit with Hug's culture and goes to Kentucky. But this is exciting, man, because, Ross Hodge, this kid's from Arizona. That's not close. When someone asks me where he's from, it's not like he's a Philly kid or a Maryland, D.C. kid. He's from Arizona, but he believed in Ross Hodge's vision so much that he decides to commit to West Virginia. I just think it speaks volumes about Ross Hodge and the person that he is. And it proves a point that we can get talent here in Morgantown, West Virginia. We really can. And I think all of our fans should have taken what DeVries did last year a little bit personally. The fact that he did go to Indiana, and it's almost like a slap in the face that the program is that better than us. I know they have more resources than us, but this is a step in the right direction for the program, especially with the 5-0 start. We're winning on the court, we're winning off the court, and it's an exciting time to be a West Virginia Mountaineer. Eric Flowers said, I really wanted to drive down for that tournament, but I'm a West Virginia boy, and it's deer season. Yeah, Eric, that's a real thing. A lot of my friends down there were huge duck hunters, actually, believe it or not, in West Virginia, and they love going down to the waterfowl. But deer season's huge up here, too, and I know that might be one of the biggest issues with the attendance for the last game of the season. They announced a 6-day window for the West Virginia Texas Tech game, and it's going to be tough to fill that place, especially with not much to play for. And I know a lot of people are similar to you, where they enjoy their deer season, and I'm sure it's awesome down there. Mitt, could you imagine like sitting in a West Virginia woods and just seeing the beauty and just getting ready and being one with nature? I'm sure that is an awesome experience.
Yeah, no, I imagine.
There's times I listen to the Metro News. I listen to the podcast. I listen to like the shows, and they have like a hunting like call-in show. And like, I was sitting in the blind and I got my deer. I'm like, that would probably be really entertaining to listen to if I was into that. I'm not much of a hunter myself. I like to fish and stuff, but it's part of their culture down there. I love it. Coop said we can win this tournament. Coop, I agree. I got to be honest. I think that not to drink too much Kool-Aid and be a homer, but I really do believe that we could win any non-conference game that's on our schedule this year. Am I being too much of a homer when I say that?
No, I mean, if I think if they continue to play this way, absolutely. I mean, I think we're going to learn a little bit more about this team very soon. But hey, look, I mean, you have Wake Forest, which I believe is in Charleston, West Virginia, so that's basically a home game. And then, I mean, Ohio State's another big one. But yeah, I mean, there's an opportunity to, I think, make a lot of noise in non-conference.
Coop said, if we can win this and they don't rank us, they're crazy. Listen, here's the deal. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I mean, one game at a time, not to be cliche. Even though I'm not a player, I really have no no bearing on the game. But if we do get ranked, let's stay ranked. I hate when we get high and we get ranked, and then it gets yanked from us 1 week later. Remember, like the one season a few years ago, I think we got high as number 2 in the country,
Right.
and then we lost like the very next game, and that
Yeah.
we were quickly down the rankings.
Yeah.
So let's get ranked again. I saw the women's team's ranked, which is awesome.
23. Yeah.
Yeah, after they had that green buyer 5, they're gonna have to sell shirts for that. It's gonna be a memorable game. But yeah, I want to see our men's sports get ranked. You know, it's cool to be good at baseball. It's cool to be good at women's basketball. But let's face it, there's 2 sports that matter, and that's football and basketball, right? So we need to get ranked in those areas. Hopefully, I think the basketball team has a shot this year.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom. And Coop said, I don't know how Indiana is 25th and they beat Incarnate Word by 8. You know, basketball is a funny game. You know, you see upsets all the time. I saw Pitt's women's team lost to Scranton, a D3 school.
D3, yeah.
That's pretty embarrassing. Tough week to be a Pitt Panther, I tell you that much. I'm glad I'm not them. And I think they're going to lose to Georgia Tech. But yeah, you know, Indiana, sometimes, especially early in the season, Coop, it's a lot of brand bias. Let's be honest, you know. Indiana is a blue blood school, according to a lot of people. And anytime they have a undefeated record, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt, according to the rankings. But rankings don't mean much in middle November. You know, we have to continue to build. And then let's just get into the tournament. It doesn't even matter where you're ranked. So just continue to win games, continue what you can do, and then people will eventually notice what we're doing. And he said Deuce is going crazy versus the Heat right now. I'm actually a huge Knicks fan. I need to turn that on after I get off of here. I'm a huge Knicks fan. Love Deuce McBride. All right, let's continue to go. Take me home, country roads. So Amit, this is where our current class stands. And not only do we need to see a name in the rankings, but recruiting rankings mean a lot too. Amit, 24/7 Sports has us overall 16th in the nation for basketball, 18th composite rankings. What are your thoughts on this ranking in this class?
I mean, obviously Miles has a lot to do with that, and it's great. But I mean, I think it speaks to Ross and what he's able to do. And I'm super impressed what he's able to do this early, right? So oftentimes it takes a new coach a little bit to recruit like this. But I mean, to get somebody this early in his tenure is amazing, and I think it speaks to him and his staff more than anything.
Yeah, and we also have Sadler's teammate there, Olu. I'm gonna butcher this name, Olu Diamu. He's also from Arizona, so we have 2 Arizona kids coming, which is exciting. Then we have Kingston Whitty. So good class. Like I said, 16th overall. We'll take that all day. Hopefully the football team can make some noise. That's the next thing we're going to talk about. What's it called? Eric Flowers said, when all of our teams are stacking wins in all of our sports, we will get more and bigger donations. We are all out of the weeds with the trust to climb. We have a ball coach, and we had a b-ball coach to stab us in the back. Yeah, last year's seasons were miserable. I mean, we had the hype of the Penn State game, and that quickly went away, and we didn't even finish 500. And then the basketball coach had us believing, and then did what you said and left. So that definitely hurts. This year, just the vibes seem better, even though the football team is going to finish with 4 or 5 wins. I think we've seen enough to have trust in Rich Rodriguez from what we saw the last month of the season, especially with all things considered, the team being extremely injured and things like that. I think we've done enough to be excited and get people back on the bandwagon. And then basketball, I mean, what much more could you want? You're 5-0, you crushed Pitt, you just signed a 5-star recruit. I know it's still early, and I know there's a lot of basketball, and we'll find out more about this team, but the vibes are up, and I think people are getting excited around Morgantown, and I hope they do. I was telling Amit, Coop's a young guy on here. He probably hasn't had much to cheer about as a West Virginia fan over these last few years, so hopefully we can get Coop some wins, because he hasn't seen much, and we haven't seen much in the last decade. All right, let's talk about some more good news, recruiting news. Take me home, country roads again. Amit, Kevin Brown. I feel like we've been talking about this guy for weeks, for years. Tomorrow's the day. Pat McAfee announced today we are honored to be a part of Kevin Brown's commitment announcement tomorrow, 1:10 Eastern time. Kevin's a 6'5", 285 workhorse who's ready to be a game changer immediately. So he's looking at UNC, Ohio State, and West Virginia. I think if he didn't commit to West Virginia at this point, I think I would just faint.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think it's between West Virginia and Ohio State. I feel good about it. I mean, we were talking. I don't know if he goes on the Pat McAfee show if he doesn't commit to West Virginia, or that would be a bold move on his part. But I mean, I think he has an opportunity to make an immediate impact for Rich Rod. So I think he goes to West Virginia. I feel good about it, and let's hope we get somebody like this.
Dude, if he didn't commit to West Virginia at this point with the gloves and the dad being a legacy, and he was going on the
Yeah.
McAfee show, and he went on a visit, like I mean, if he did, that would be like the biggest, like that would be the biggest disappointment I can remember in recruiting ever. Uh, like I feel like I'm just, I feel like the writing's on the wall. He wouldn't be going on the McAfee show if he didn't choose West Virginia, in my opinion. Like you said, though, AJ Hawk's an Ohio State guy, but this isn't the AJ Hawk show. This is the
Yeah.
Pat McAfee show. I'm sure McAfee is also part of the cashola to this kid too, as a big donor for West Virginia. I'm excited for this news tomorrow. Amit, what are your expectations for this guy next year?
I mean, I think he has a chance to play right away, to be honest. I mean, I was watching some of his highlights, very excited to see what he was able to do. And we mentioned some of the concerns with the O-line, right? So I think he has a chance to make an immediate impact. And I think McAfee had a little tease for us today. So let's hope, let's pray that we get him tomorrow.
Eric Flower said, at least Rich Rod is mad when we lose. We don't want the golly, they were a good team. Yeah, I got to be honest, man, especially by the end of like Neil Brown's press conference, it just kind of got stale. He would just be like, thank you all for being here. And just give like these, like, just not
it was
like
almost
real,
like robotic. Like it felt like robotic. Like
so we went from like Dana Holgerson, who like would
Yeah.
cough the entire time on his pressers, like, oh, he had to like clear his throat. And then we had like Neil Brown, who would try to be like the nicest guy, but it's like,
Yeah.
Neil, like, we just like I appreciate Rich Rodriguez.
we
Like,
just lost by 40. I need some.
did you see his presser the other day? He's like, why
he
didn't you
looked
win
mad. He looked mad.
He's like, we couldn't get the ball past this far. So,
Yeah.
Rich Rod, he's been a breath of fresh air this year with his
Sure,
press
yeah.
conferences. And he was pretty upfront this year that year one was going to be the biggest struggle. So, back to the Kevin Brown, though. This would be a huge get for West Virginia. I think he is an instant starter. I think I could see him playing right tackle next year because the offensive line has been that poor on that side of the ball. I mean, looking ahead, and we're going to look ahead in a second to some other things about top 10 guys we need to retain next year. I think he would be a day one starter, and then you bring back like Landon Livingston and Cray,
right?
Maybe Haslam, and then you get a right guard in the portal, or maybe a young guy step up. I mean, the offensive line it could gel then, and then you add this guy. I mean, they compared him today on Mike Kazaz's show to Wyatt Milam, that type of guy that can step in and have an impact that right away. And we've seen it before with guys this caliber. Zach Frazier, Wyatt Milam, guys that can start right away.
Yeah.
I'm super excited with this one, and it's a need. West Virginia needs him. I'm not sure how much Ohio State needs this guy.
Right.
West Virginia needs him. His dad played for Rich Rod. That should help. 1:10 tomorrow. I'll be throwing football at recess. I'm the all-time quarterback for my fourth grade class. So I'll check my phone when I have time to see if he committed. All right, Amit, I did a video last night. So sorry, this is repetitive to people. I put out a video and I counted down the top 10 players West Virginia must retain. Got a decent amount of comments. Some people praised the list. Some people thought I shafted some people. But this is my list, Amit, and then I'll show you my honorable mention of guys that just missed the list, but I still think are important. So number 10, I have defensive back Nick Taylor coming over from Appalachia State. Ben Bogle, a linebacker. At number 9, Sincere Bowers. He had the big run this week, and he has 4.3 speed to put him at 8. But Rodney Gallagher at 7. It was hard to place Rodney on this list somewhere, depending on where his ranking was, but I feel like he's important enough piece to bring back. Nick Cray at 6. He's our left tackle. Landon Livingston, our center, at 5. Curtis Jones, our bandit, and I guess power running back as of right now, 4. Scotty Fox, 3. Jaheim White, 2, and Cam Vaughn, 1. Initial thoughts on the list, and do you think that I got it right, or would you have moved some people around here on the top 10 players that West Virginia must retain for next season?
I definitely think Cam Vaughn is number 1, no doubt. I mean, just the impact he's made at receiver, and I think he's going to be our go-to receiver for, if we are able to get him back. Jaheim White, I definitely like it a lot. I think the biggest question mark with him is his health, right? Can he stay healthy? One guy, I mean, Dior Hubbard, what are your thoughts on him at making this list?
Yeah, he was a tough one to put. He was a tough one because it's like, all right, do I either put Bowers on or
Yeah,
do I put him on? Because I already have Jaheim White, right? So I don't
right.
want to put 3 running backs in my
Absolutely.
top 10. That was really challenging. But I feel like even though he might have like more yards than Bowers, I just feel like with Bowers' speed
Yeah.
and his home run hitting ability, it was special to see, man. I know Hubbard's caught the wheel route and things like that before, but I don't know. I think Hubbard is, probably in that 11 to 15 range of
Yeah.
guys I'd bring back. But I feel pretty comfortable with this list, and I'm going to
Yeah.
show you the honorable mentions in a second. I got to be honest though, the only one that I'm really worried about losing right now, probably is Cam Vaughn. Truthfully, and I'm going to tell you why. I think like Jaheim White's coming off 2 knee surgeries, like what's his market going to be like if he hits the portal? I think he's better suited just staying here where he knows he's going to get playing time. Same thing with Scotty Fox. Scotty Fox now is in a Power 4 program that has shown he can win some games. Even if West Virginia brings in a quarterback next year, even if you sit for 1 year, you're the future of the program. Why risk it and go to other schools where they're going to be high? It's a high market position. People change quarterbacks every year in the transfer portal. What's your market going to look like too as a true freshman? Are people going to be calling you up to get Scotty Fox? I don't know. And then everyone else, is just kind of like would be a starter at West Virginia, but are they going to be a starter guaranteed at another Power 4, right? Like Curtis Jones Jr. He didn't log any snaps on the last game defensively, but I think when he is in there, the staff really likes him, and we don't have many defenders coming back next year, so he's going to be a huge piece. And then Landon Livingston and Nick Cray, even though the offensive line hasn't played great this year, we don't want to have to do this over again with 5 new offensive linemen next year. So they're important to keep. And same thing with them. I think that, like, are you really going to try to hit the transfer portal right now when you have pretty much a guaranteed spot at a Power 4 program at this point? You're probably staying. Rodney Gallagher is an interesting one. I could see him going, only because he might just think he needs to change the scenery, which would be fair to him. But I'd like this. I kept him on the list though, because I think his best football is still ahead of him. I'm not going to give up on him. He was a high caliber player. And the thing with him is he's a local guy. He's from
Local guy. Yeah.
Uniontown, 4-star recruit, was a West Virginia fan his life growing up. So he's been loyal to the program. I hope he sticks around. I mentioned Sincere Bowers. Ben Bogle is I had a tough time with putting some defensive guys on here. I know someone commented on my show last night about Marshawn Oxley, who was in the honorable mention. It was tough to decide like which defenders, because most of the defenders you see are in backup roles at this point. But I think Ben Bogle's shown enough that he can play, especially what he's done in the second half of the season. And then Nick Taylor is a guy that has made some plays on special teams. He came over from Appalachian State, had an interception in the Utah game, so I put him on the list. But there's a couple other guys I want to talk about in the honorable mention list. The guy at the top, Ryan Ward, I really considered putting him in the top 10 because he's a New Jersey guy, Rutherford, New Jersey. And we're losing a lot of tight ends. Barrick and Grayson Barnes are going to be gone, so you could pencil him as the starting tight end next year. Marshawn Oxley, you've seen make some plays in some critical situations, so I think he should stick around. Ben Cutter, Coop said Israel Boyce, I agree.
Yep.
Filippo is a guy that was a true freshman this year that got playing time. Donovan Haslam is a guy that has gotten playing time as of late. Dior Hubbard, Asani Redwood, Corey McIntyre, Christian Hamilton, Malik Agbo, Robbie Martin, and Isosa. I'm sure I'm missing one or two, but I think that list is the guys that I would really strongly consider bringing back next year. Man, what do you think?
Absolutely. I definitely agree with your top 10. I think, Hubbard is definitely an argument for sure for me, but I mean, him or Bowers, right? You don't want to put 3 running backs. I totally get that. So I think that's kind of just, you pick one, one of the two maybe. But other than that, I mean, Agbo doesn't even play next year if we do land Brown. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can make an argument for a couple of these guys, but I definitely liked your top 10.
And this is also take all this with a grain of salt, because it's a confusing time. You're right. When you see redshirt senior, does that even mean redshirt senior? I saw Jordan Scruggs on his X the other day, kind of teased. He said, "I'm praying for one more." Does that mean he's going to ask for a waiver for one more season? Because if Scruggs is eligible, he's probably on my top 5 because that cornerback position is important. What's the deal with Ty Edwards, right? He only played one
Right.
game, but he also had to get a waiver this year to even play in the first place. So what's the deal with Ty Edwards? There's a couple guys that I've seen online that they've been rumors that they can possibly appeal for one more year. So I just made this list based on, okay, are you a junior or lower? Do you have eligibility? And that's what I did my thing on.
Is
Coop
it
said
me or
play
does it?
hard. Go ahead.
I'll say, is it me or does it feel like you never know how many years the guy has left?
Dude, it's
it
so confusing.
is
Like when we got Jalen Henderson, it says he's a redshirt senior, but he has 2 years of eligibility. Like, what does that even mean?
crazy,
It's so
right?
confusing. And there's guys coming down from the G League to play basketball. There's I saw that we're looking at a tight end who was in preseason camp with the Chargers because he was a New Zealand basketball player. So technically he never played college football, so he's eligible to sign for a school. I mean, dude, it's so confusing, especially as someone who does this for fun. Like, dude, I'm not like 24/7 sports. Yeah, I'm a dude with a family that is a teacher as my day job. So I try to do the best I can with this stuff. So it is very confusing. Coop said play Harlan Obioa at D line. Dude, he's 7 foot. He might have been able to block that kick that the guy kicked from Arizona State. Coop says one has to be Scotty, two has to be Cam, three has to be Jaheim. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that's one of the comments people made to me too is you could have flipped the order of 1, 2, and 3, and I would be fine with that too. If Jaheim was healthy, I would have probably put him 1. And then Scotty Fox has a chance to be 1 because of how important the quarterback is. But I also think that if they wanted to, they could probably get a quarterback that fits their needs right away too. So that's
I
why
still
he.
think they're going to look in the portal for sure, so you have some, options, right, at quarterback, because you don't want to just rely on one guy. The guy goes down, and then what do you what happens, right?
Look what happened this year. I mean, I think the
Yeah,
other thing too that's not on this list is like Khalil Wilkins. Do you bring Khalil Wilkins back next year, or does he want to come back next year? Seeing the writing on the wall, I mean, Scotty Fox, it's going to be his if he stays around and he continues what he's doing. It's probably going to be his job for the near future, depending on what they do if they bring in someone in. I think in a perfect scenario, they bring in a quarterback from the portal, like kind of like a Will Greer or like a JT Daniels. Hopefully he plays better than JT Daniels, but a 1 year high hype guy that can run a system. You let Scotty Fox learn for 1 more year in Rich Rod's system. You redshirt him. He comes back with 3 more years of eligibility in a perfect world. How realistic is that in today's age? Who knows? But at the same time, like he's everyone that's on the roster right now, I feel like has a good spot at West Virginia. The only one that might look to get a higher payday is probably Cam Vaughn, if I'm being honest, right? I think everyone else should probably stay. I hope Cam Vaughn stays. I'm praying he does. That's going to cause me so much anxiety over the last few weeks. I mean, before we change gears and talk about something else, I hate this time of year. I absolutely hate the end of the season and checking kids' Instagram pages to see if they decommit. What are your thoughts on that?
yeah. I mean, you just this day and age, you just never know like who's going to be around next year. Yeah, it's a tough feeling, right? Like I thought like that 1 year CJ Donaldson was definitely going. He comes back, and then obviously does end up leaving. But it's just like you never know when somebody does well, right? It's just
I
like
think I think the biggest thing that would have been interesting is if Neil Brown wasn't fired last year, which guys on the roster are back, So like after the season, we got blown out by Texas Tech. Like, does Josiah Trotter decide to leave on his own? Hudson Clement, like with CJ, like how many of those guys left because of a new coach, or how many were just done with West Virginia? We'll never know that answer to that, but I think that would have been fascinating to see what we had. Unfortunately, Neil Brown's lack of being able to keep his players was ultimately one of the reasons why he was let go. And truthfully, that's not all of his fault. That West Virginia was behind the 8 ball in NIL, and that's one of the reasons Shane Lyons isn't here anymore. All interesting stuff. Like I said, though, I just hate this time of year. Hate seeing the guys leave. See them go to other programs. But at the end of the day, I should get more used to it because it is a business and it's the climate that we're in. And you know what? If you lose a player, there's about 2,000 or 3,000 more you can look at and replace them with. All right, let's talk about this as we close out the night. We kind of hinted this on my last show. They were talking with James Franklin, possibly being the coach. I addressed this. I mean, I think this one is a really good hire for them. I think it
yeah.
has a major effect on West Virginia. He's recruited the Virginia area really well. He has Tyler Warren from there. Tony Rojas is from there. They do really well in that area when he was at Penn State. this is going to cause to be a pain in the butt for West Virginia. We recruit heavily against Virginia Tech for a lot of players in that area. So he's a heck of a recruiter. Say what you want about him. He can recruit. He rebuilt Vandy and PSU and has a good track record and has been consistent. And I don't know, man. I feel like maybe Virginia Tech's a better situation for him than it was Penn State.
Absolutely.
Because are you going to have an Ohio State? Are you going to have a Michigan and Oregon in the ACC? No. How many top 10 teams are you going to play in the ACC? Maybe one a year, maybe Clemson, maybe Miami, once in a blue moon. Amit, what are your thoughts on James Franklin in this hire?
Yeah, I thought it was a fantastic hire for Virginia Tech, honestly. I think it's great for all parties involved as well. I mean, I think, yeah, like you mentioned, there's going to be less pressure at Virginia Tech than I think at Penn State. And I think sometimes you just need a fresh start. And I think Virginia Tech and I mean, the ACC is definitely more winnable. Like you're not going against Michigan, Ohio State every year, and you're going to have a chance to win a lot in the ACC. So I think this is a great hire for Virginia Tech. I think they're just itching to get back to national relevancy. Like people forget about Virginia Tech. They were a very good program, very similar to West Virginia, right?
Very similar to us.
Now it's like, they're getting 3 wins a year, it seems like, and nobody really talks about them. So I think he's eager to get them back, on the map, and I think it's a great hire for them. So I think he can be very successful there.
The only reason why I think it's a great hire. Like I said, I thought the only reason why they might not do it is because Brett Pry was under him at Penn State, so he came from Penn State as well. But Brett Pry is not James Franklin. Let's face it. So why not if you're Virginia Tech? I mean, especially with the coaching carousel, to get a James Franklin in the fold with all these other jobs having schools, it's impressive. And Virginia Tech has had some tough times financially. I know there's a lot of rumblings about them having a tough time funding their NIL program, so that will be interesting. I'm not sure if he'll have as much resources as he did at Penn State, but he might not have to with how winnable that conference is. And let's hope he can beat Pitt and make Pitt miserable. That'd be great too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of Pitt, in the ACC, they really struggled versus Notre Dame this week, which is great to see. And Pat Narduzzi's had some comments about, well, West Virginia can win one game, but we show up every week. It's like, Pat Narduzzi, you're playing Stanford and you're playing Boston College on a weekly basis. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here.
Yeah. He was definitely like nauseating to listen to, and I'm like, man, I just hope Notre Dame just destroys them, and that happened, so it was great. But going back to the Virginia Tech, I think just seeing like James Franklin's first time with Enter Sandman is going to be pretty cool to see. I'm not going to lie, that's going to be when that place is rocking, like that's going to be fun.
I saw on X today, someone said, how sick would a West Virginia Tech like Black Diamond Trophy, Rich Rod on one side, James Franklin on the other.
Yeah.
That would be sick. I went to the Virginia Tech West Virginia game at Washington, D.C. A few years ago. We lost that one, unfortunately. But that was one of my favorite environments of a game I was at. That stadium was literally shaking. I really have a high respect for Virginia Tech's fan base, because even though we're rivals, you can tell they care. They fill out their stadium every time. So they're much different than Pitt fans. I think they have a lot in common with us. So I think this is true. I think college football is better when both West Virginia and Virginia Tech are relevant. I truly believe that. Coop said Brian Daboll to Penn State.
I guess you never know, but I mean, I don't think that he'll be the first person there that they're reaching out to, but yeah, you never know.
I don't know. The Penn State thing is getting very interesting a bit before we get off of here, because they wanted Matt Rule. He signs an extension. They wanted Kurt Signetti. He signed an extension. I said they should have got Urban Meyer, but apparently he didn't do well in his interview, I heard. But come on, it's Urban Meyer. If you give Urban Meyer whatever he wants, but apparently what I heard was NIL and him wasn't like his vision was. He didn't get a great answer. It seems like every coach they've wanted has signed an extension is not coming to Happy Valley. If you're a Penn State fan, do you think they should be a little concerned right now?
No, because I mean, personally, I still think it's a very, very good job in college football. So I think ultimately they are going to land a top tier guy. Obviously sometimes you just can't get, maybe the number one choice, but I still think it's a fantastic job as far as college football. So I think they'll land somebody pretty good.
I think it could be Brian Hartline from Ohio State, someone that West Virginia apparently interviewed last year at the last hour. So that would be interesting for them. I do agree, though, it is a top job in college football. I went to both Penn State, West Virginia games recently, and the one at Penn State, I remember like walking into their stadium, and seeing that crowd, I was way up there. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
like it was the first time I was like intimidated at like a road environment ever. And I was like, and I remember like it felt like Milan Postcar Stadium was like not even in like the same stratosphere as like them. And I hate to say that, but it was true, especially for a night game. And it was like the helmet stripe game. I remember like, how do like recruits like not want to come here? Like you had like all these NFL players on the sideline and you had like a great environment, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens at Penn State. Truthfully, moving forward, they've lost a lot of commitments. They have a very senior roster, so they're going to have to hit the portal, and they got to make a decision pretty soon. National Signing Day is only in a few weeks, and their class is falling apart. And if they don't get a head coaching soon, they're going to be late to the game in the transfer portal, kind of similar to West Virginia was.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like I'm thinking, yeah, they're gonna go on a pretty quick timeline here, just so somebody can get going. But yeah, I would imagine that would be coming in the coming weeks.
The college football timeline's kind of messed up. I mean, that's what happened in West Virginia last year with Kolnicki. It was like they wanted him to go, and he said, "I want to stick out for my one season here. I want to try to win a national championship." So they might be late to the game depending on what coach they're looking at. I also heard Eli Derkowitz from Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be interesting. I think things are going to heat up over the next 2 weeks when seasons start to end, and especially with the transfer portal, it's going to be a wild, wild time. All right, Amit, we've gone for 50 minutes, which I can't believe. I didn't think we were going to go that long. When you said we want to do a show tonight, I was like, I don't know. But then I was like, you know what? We'll do one. Why not? 50 minutes, that's a long time. Any last thoughts or words that we haven't touched on tonight?
No, I think it's just an exciting time. I mean, obviously, the basketball team's 5-0, which is great. There's going to be some exciting games over the course of this week, and I think from just a recruiting standpoint, it's nice to see we're in the picture with some of these guys, and obviously to get Miles Sadler, and then tomorrow big announcement coming. So I think from a recruiting standpoint, we're at a very fun time as well.
Absolutely. All we need is Cam Vaughn to say, I'm coming back too. That'd be exciting too, right? Now, listen, man, for Amit and for me, we really appreciate it. We had a ton of people watching tonight, which is really good. So we really appreciate the support. Vibes are up around the programs. We really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your Monday night. We'll talk to you guys next time.